State university experts say the Luzon-wide lockdown helped slow down the spread of coronavirus infections in the country. But the experts from the University of the Philippines also anticipate an increase in COVID-19 cases once the lockdown is lifted. Based on their estimate, the number of coronavirus cases in the country may reach 9,000 to 44,000 at the end of the Luzon-wide lockdown on April 30. They say over 50,000 people may require hospitalization at the peak of the coronavirus pandemic in the country. This number would overwhelm the local healthcare system. Pasig City Mayor Vico Soto says Wednesday, April 22, it might be too early to end the lockdown, at least in Pasig City, with coronavirus cases still on the rise.
Parang sayang if we lift it now when there are still a high number of cases and an increasing number of cases every day.
Soto also says help from the military in getting people to stay home will be welcome as long as they're doing their jobs properly and they're not breaking any laws. As of Wednesday, April 22, there are 6,710 COVID-19 cases in the Philippines with 693 recoveries and 446 deaths. Acting Socio-Economic Planning Secretary Carl Chua says Filipino consumers stand to benefit from the nosedive of oil prices in the world market. Oil prices in the world market have traded in negative levels for the first time in history due to oversupply amid the coronavirus pandemic. The price drop may be initially viewed as a win for consumers, but experts say it is an indication economic activity has drastically slowed down due to the pandemic. But Chua stresses this and the previous weeks of oil price rollbacks will benefit Filipinos. The Philippine government is shelling out 35 million pesos to use two ships of Dennis Uй's logistics company Go Group to house seafarers and migrant workers undergoing quarantine for the coronavirus. Transportation Secretary Arthur Tugade confirms this Wednesday, April 22.
Ito ho, rinirentahan ito ng gobyerno, yung dalawa, mga 35 million ho. Namura naman yan, mura, at nagamit if you will compute it on the basis of bed space and use.
Tugade says the larger ship's capacity of 1,400 beds will not be maximized to enforce physical distancing. Go is a logistics company led by Uy, a businessman known to be a close friend of President Rodrigo Duterte. Uy was a major campaign donor for Duterte's presidential bid and was eventually appointed his presidential advisor on sports. Cabinet Secretary Carlo Nograles earlier publicly thanked Go for providing the ships. China defends its naming of 80 islands and other geographical features in the South China Sea. The Ministry of Natural Resources and the Ministry of Civil Affairs announced April 19 new administrative districts for the contested Spratly and Paracel island chains. The notice lists the Chinese names and coordinates of 80 islands, reefs, seamounts, shoals, and ridges, 55 of them submerged in water. Beijing asserts its sovereignty in the sea by building artificial islands and by building up its military presence, despite rival claims by the Philippines, Vietnam, Taiwan, Malaysia, and other nations. A growing number of Hong Kong residents venture out to popular locations in the country despite repeated warnings against social gatherings to prevent the spread of the coronavirus. This comes after daily cases dropped to single digits. 4 new cases were reported on Tuesday, April 21, and no new cases were reported Monday, April 20. In the United Kingdom, Prime Minister Boris Johnson tentatively begins his return to work Tuesday after being hospitalized for coronavirus. The 55-year-old spent several days in intensive care and is still recuperating at his official countryside retreat of Chequers. As of Wednesday, April 22, there are more than 2.5 million COVID-19 cases in the world, with at least 177,000 deaths in 193 countries and territories.